what does living out of this place of fear look like, zoomed out? We don't actually like have to wonder. There are some incredible stories throughout history that show us. The one that I am most familiar with and very passionate about is Hansen's disease, known more commonly as leprosy, on the island of Molokai. Do you know anything about this?
Please share the story.
So Molokai is a small Hawaiian island and pretty rural. And there is a peninsula off the coast where it's the highest sea cliffs in the world. So there's this small, I think it's like a few acre peninsula at the bottom of these huge sea cliffs on the island of Molokai. Starting in 1860s is when Hansen's disease started sweeping through the native people of Hawaii. And you'll hear a lot of things that sound familiar, but they didn't know a lot about it. They knew that it was spreading and that it was contagious, but they had a very limited understanding of how it spread and how contagious it was and who was being affected, why, all of these things. And out of a place of extreme fear and that mentality that you're talking about of like preserving life at all costs, the peninsula off of Molokai was made into a leprosy colony. And so starting in the 1860s, people would be teachers, healthcare workers, government workers would be incentivized to report cases of leprosy that they saw in the community. So a child might go to school with a spot on them. The school nurse would be given money to report that child as having leprosy. Someone would come to that child's home that night, and in the morning they would be taken, put on a cattle barge, and shipped to this desolate peninsula for the rest of their lives, to never see their family, to die in this place. The history, I've read books and books and books, and it is devastating. Families ripped apart. I mean, a community turned against itself, all out of fear, reporting each other. And I mean, it just, all of the sacred things of humanity stripped away. This continued all the way through the legal banning of people to this peninsula was lifted in 1966.
Wow.
And there's still a handful of patients that live there today. And there's amazing stories of human perseverance and strength. But what I go there often to, when we're on Molokai, we go there a few times a year, and I look out over, the peninsula. There's a lookout where you can go and pay respects. And so often my feelings have been like, how does something like this happen? And here we are seeing exactly how something like that happens, where fear just overtakes an entire culture.
Yeah.
And what you lose is people's humanity.
Yeah.
And caution and wisdom and safety is so important. But when our fear drives us to a place where we stop seeing people as people, we stop seeing the sacred as sacred, we do horrible, horrible things. Yeah. And if you know anything about Hansen's disease, all of those measures were completely unnecessary now that we understand how it spreads, how contagious it is, all of that. So that's, a century of gut-wrenching heartache motivated by fear.